Welcome back to the weekend preview, where it's time to talk about the pick of Saturday's matches, a top four showdown between West Ham and Chelsea.
The two teams go into the game locked on the same number of points, with Chelsea only ahead in the table on goal difference. It could hardly be tighter in the fight for Champions League football.
I think this is the match I'm looking forward to the most this weekend. It should be a cracker in the fight for the top four. It's fifth versus fourth. They're on the same points. Just goal difference is keeping Chelsea in that top four above West Ham at the moment. How much more important is this game for West Ham now, John, because of that, I think you'd say, surprise defeat to Newcastle last weekend?
Not more important for West Ham than for Chelsea, because, of course, it's for fight to the top four, and regardless of whether the expectations are Chelsea will be there, I think this is possibly West Ham's, I won't say the last chance ever, but this is a fantastic chance for them to get into the top four. I think Chelsea are slight favourites, because I think Liverpool have been inconsistent in terms of the way they play. Man City are great, but Chelsea are a team I love watching play. I think they play such good football. I think they did on the Frank, but with Tuchel, he's got them well organised. Defensively, they still give opposition chances, like against Brighton, although they're not conceding many goals. So I think they'll have to tighten up there. But West Ham are playing with so much confidence that it wouldn't surprise me if they got a result, but I still think Chelsea will.
I think the problem for West Ham is the injuries. I was talking to somebody during the week, and they just feel they might be just, running out of players now. And
Dawson suspended as well.
Yeah, the Declan Rice one has really hit them hard. I think, he was just such an important player for them, and obviously it's going to be a while yet before he comes back. Antonio as well, who's been in and out, obviously, with injuries this season, but again, just not the same without him.
Cresswell struggling as well.
So I just really, I think they feel a little bit like, they are running out of players, and that kind of, if they'd gone into this game with Rice, with Cresswell, with Ogbonna's back, which is a boost, obviously, and Antonio, I think they would have really fancied it. I think now they may just hope to try and get away with a draw. I think Chelsea are the clear favourites, unfortunately. The only other thing to think about is, obviously, is Chelsea got the Champions League semi-final next week, and Tuchel's obviously got an extraordinary squad, but he'll have that in his mind as well, that he's got to try and marshal his team to make sure he juggles his resources for that. So that's West Ham's top chance as well, that maybe it almost means more to West Ham this game on Saturday, because Chelsea have got that semi-final as well.
Brighton went there, in the week, didn't they? Not so many people watched the game.
Yeah.
There was a lot else going on that night.
But Brighton could have won. Welbeck hitting the post. They had a good chance.
That's what I'm saying. Defensively, as much as they haven't conceded many goals, they do give the opposition a lot of chances. But going forward, they create so many chances, and I don't know whether West Ham can keep them out.
In terms of going forward for West Ham, though, what they do have is a player so full of confidence in Jesse Lingard. No player has been involved in more goals than him since his West Ham debut in February. It's just incredible, this run he's on, and you'd expect him to score in every game between now and the end of the season.
So what's so incredible with him, I think, is that when you're in a situation where you haven't played for your club, for Manchester United, you've been sort of in and out a little bit, you haven't really been in the squad most of the time, and then you go to a new club on loan, sometimes they hit the ground running, don't they? And then they dip. He hasn't dipped.
He hasn't had a dip,
He's just gone on and on and on and on. So it's a testament to his fitness for a start, and his sharpness that he's done this. And
you don't make runs like that if you're not confident.
No, absolutely. And I think, to be fair to him, he just wanted to play. I think he'd reached a situation where he's thinking, what's the point of being a Manchester United player if I'm not playing for Manchester United?
You have to look at the nature of the way he plays. He's an attacking player, he's a number 10, he's an attacking midfield player, that's what he does well. At Manchester United, once Pogba goes back in the team, Fernandes, if he's going to play, he's going to be a bit part player. There's no point having Pogba. All he's going to do is run up and down and not get a kick. Yeah. Whereas for West Ham, everything comes through him in terms of creativity. And that's what he needs to do. So if he then feels, I'm playing so well, I'm going to go back to Manchester United and do it, he won't. Unless he's going to take over from Fernandes or Pogba or whoever else they're going to bring in.
Van der Beek as well.
Yeah, Van der Beek. So therefore, it was never going to work for him at Man United. That's why when players find a home that suits them in terms of the way they play, instead of thinking, I've done well at West Ham, let me think about going back to Manchester United or going to Arsenal or a bigger club. He won't do this at Arsenal when you have some of the players that they have here. So this is the perfect place for him.
Also,
I'm not sure he'll stay, though.
Yeah. No, he may not, because he may want more. He may want more, but what's he going to do? Go back and because he will not go back to Manchester United and play in the team.
No.
He won't.
No, I agree with you.
He won't.
I agree.
Interesting. In terms of West Ham's home form as well, they'll be confident heading into this one. Only Manchester City have had a better home record than West Ham this season. That's quite amazing, isn't it?
So nobody at West Ham will say it, but if there's one team that has benefited from the fans
I'm glad you said it.
not being in the stadium, it is West Ham.
Absolutely.
It is West Ham.
Absolutely.
They have absolutely been transformed at home this season.
Because there's no pressure. And in fact, I remember the game. Was it not against Tottenham where they're 3-0 down and came back to 3-0?
Yeah.
They would never have done that with the fans at the stadium because the fans would have given them so much. They would have lost 6. You know, so when there are not fans there, you can then say we're not playing particularly well. But, however, because we're good players, we can come back. So Villa are a bit like that as well. That's why they're doing well. But West Ham, 100% without the fans.
If, and it's a big if West Ham get in the Champions League places, does that mean David Moyes manager of the season?
It sort of depends what City end up winning, I guess. But it's hard to look beyond him. Yeah. I really do.
No, I don't care what City wins, because they could win the Champions League and the FA, whatever they win.
And the relegation.
And you can expect them to do that. However, for me, that, especially where West Ham were last year, 100% David Moyes.
But only if they get in the Champions League.
Well, to be honest with you, if they finish 5th, 1 point off the Champions League is that much. You know, he would have got 1 point more to be in the Champions League. So therefore, has it been that greater? 1 point or even goal difference? So unless they have a catastrophic decline whereby they finish 8th or 9th, I would give it to him either way.
Are you in agreement?
I think it's hard if City win the Champions League, the Premier League, and the League Cup. I think it's hard.
But you would say at the start of the season, what is City's remit? Can they win? Should they win the Carabao Cup? Yes.
Yeah.
Should they win the Premier League? Yes. Them or Liverpool, you'd have said this season. Yeah. And can they win the Champions League? You would say yes. But West Ham, if you said at the start of the season, West Ham have finished 4th, no chance.
No, it's a very fair point. And when you come to these Manager of the Year awards, you almost should have them on different criteria. It should be the ones, you know, that have got all the resources and all the squads and all the players, and the ones who are punching above the weight, you know, just absolutely outperforming. And without any doubt, then yes, definitely David Moyes deserves that award. What
about Thomas Tuchel as well? Since he's come in, has he surprised you at how well and how quickly he's turned this Chelsea team around?
Well, we know he's a good manager. I don't think Chelsea were that bad when they sacked Frank Lampard. So I think that with everything being right, I think Frank could have done what he's done. With the harmony coming in here and the belief and whatever, they did what they did, but they weren't that far off. And every time they played, I thought they played quite well. A little bit inconsistent.
Defensively, they're far better though.
Defensively, I think defensively they're not conceding goals, but they're giving opportunities. You saw the Brighton game, so it doesn't surprise me because I knew they had the capabilities and the capacity and the potential to do that. And a new manager coming in of his stature will lift the players to do that. But yeah, I don't think that's not such a big surprise. I didn't think they needed a lot of turning around for them to do what they did.
I think he's done a lot better than Frank Lampard would have done, personally. I really do. I don't think Frank Lampard had got him into the semi-finals of the Champions League.
Well, who did they play in the quarter-final?
They played Porto in the quarter-final, but they played Atletico Madrid before that.
Yeah.
I think he's a different... I think Frank could be a great manager eventually, but I think this is a different level of manager.
Oh, no, I think he's a better manager than Frank because he's more experienced. But I'm just saying in terms of the difference in what they've done, I don't think he's done...
What I really liked about him was day one, he flies in from Paris, takes the first training session. Right? He doesn't sit in the stands. He takes the first training session, changes the team, puts Hudson-Odoi at wing back. He never played there before in his life. Changes to 3-4-3, and took the team the next day. Okay, they drew 0-0 with Wolves, but he hit the ground running, and he came in with his eyes wide open. I think Chelsea are really benefiting from the experience that he had at Paris Saint-Germain, where he knows what it's like to be at a club where you've got to win every game, where the pressure's ridiculous, where actually whatever you do, you're going to lose your job eventually. I think he knew exactly what he was doing when he came into Chelsea. He signed an 18-month contract. He's not wasting any time. He's not talking about building He never mentioned the word project once, has he? He's not talking about projects or whatever. He's like, no, we've got to win. And and he's gone in there. And what's really helped him as well is his English is absolutely perfect. He can even write perfect English. You know, he is unbelievable language skills, and I think that's helped him a lot as well.
In terms of communicating with the players.
Yeah, the communication has been extraordinary.
Yeah.
And he's made some tough decisions at times. Yeah. You know, he's left players out. He's hooked players at in the first half. You know, he's not messed around here. For him, it's not rehearsal for him. You know, this is it. You know, either it works or you're out.
Unbeaten away from home as well since Tuchel took over. So he's doing a lot of things right, as you say. And they could have an amazing end to this season. They're in the FA Cup final, Champions League semi-finals, could finish in the top 4. That would be an amazing season for Chelsea.
Absolutely. I remember Jurgen Klopp could have done it at Dortmund, ended up winning nothing. So, you know, he's done fantastically well. But what will we be saying if he loses all of that and then he falls out to the top 4? What will we say about him then? Don't get me wrong, I think he's done a great job. He's come with a big reputation, which means that he can make decisions that people accept. If Frank made the same decisions, they wouldn't accept it because what does Frank know? Because he's an inexperienced manager. Yeah. So therefore, he's come at a good time because people accept what he does. But we've seen it before. I think he's a great manager, don't get me wrong, and he's done a fantastic job. However, I think Frank was a little bit hard done by.
Yeah, we've seen that Thomas Tuchel has played Havertz as a false 9 in a couple of games recently. Do you think he'll go for something similar for this game ahead of, as you already mentioned, that big semi-final in the Champions League to come in the week? Do you think he'll rest Timo Werner for that, or how do you think he'll set up?
It's a very interesting question because you've got so many different combinations that you can go for. Obviously, you've got Pulisic and Ziyech as well that you can obviously rotate those players around. I think ultimately he will end up playing Havertz in that role in the bigger games, so I think he might hold him back for the Real Madrid game to play him there. Perhaps that might work best for them. And maybe I think we'll definitely see the best of Havertz next season for sure. What I'm interested in is that Chelsea are definitely going to try and sign a striker, like a central striker. So where do they see Havertz fitting in? But that's obviously that's all for the future. But for now, I think there are real signs that there's a real good player there. I mean, obviously we know the whole of Europe wanted him and Chelsea bought him because they had the money, basically. We haven't seen the best of him. He had COVID, obviously. He's moved to a new country. He's just a kid. I've got a lot of sympathy for him. It's been very, very difficult. When you pay that amount of money for a player that Real Madrid wanted, then people expect you to hit the ground running, don't they? He hasn't done that at all, obviously. But there are signs there that he's going to be a player. And speaking of somebody at Manchester City the other week, he's a player they really would like to have had.
Really?
But it wasn't a deal they could have done. But I know Guardiola really rates him very highly.
Interesting. All right, let's get a prediction from you guys on this one then. What's the score going to be? West Ham, Chelsea?
A Chelsea win.
Yeah, I would really love West Ham to get this, to get a result here. But I just think Chelsea will probably edge it 2-1.
OK, we'll see Robert's prediction at the end of the show. Right, let's move on to another big game this weekend.